there guys, this is Malorian, and this will be a Warmachine 101, and this one will be a little bit different. I've been really loving watching these videos that are like the Google autofill. This is where you type something into Google and it fills in the rest. And for answering questions, this is a very good way to go, because clearly if you guys have questions, you put them into Google, and then as I write these things in, I'll see them. So I'm going to put in, is Warmachine, and go from A to Z, and we'll just kind of see what's there, and I'll answer them as I go. So A, is Warmachine and Hordes the same game? Pretty much yes. There is a slight difference that in Warmachine you have a Warcaster who's going to generate focus every turn, and then he's going to allocate it out to his Warjacks. And in Horde you're going to have a Warlock who has beasts that are going to generate fury that you have to take off. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. The way you roll the dice, the way you move, the scenarios, they are designed to interact, to be together, and be the same game. That's why usually guys just call it either just Warmachine or they call it Warmachine Hordes. It's really all the same thing. If you have that situation where it's like, oh no, I bought Warmachine, my buddy bought Hordes, it doesn't matter. You bought the same thing. B, is Warmachine better than 40K? Okay guys, there is so many different things you can go with this, where, you know, as you talk about the fun or the tactics or whatever, but I'm going to attack this from a tactical standpoint and say Warmachine is better than 40K. What can I say? In 40K, I'm not going to take it away from the top players where there is tactics and stuff, but for the most part, it's really just find the crazy loopholes, buy the awesome stuff off of Forge World, hope you get first turn, and pew 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 pew. Sure, I am very oversimplifying, but when you take that compared to Warmachine, where it is right down to micro interactions, where you have a scenario that's forcing you to the middle of the board, and it's all about where you're going to allocate your force, and every single little model placement is going to be massive. It is a more tactical game. 40K is a great game, and I know lots of people have tons of fun with it. I had tons of fun with it, but if you're looking for like a chess tactical game, I'd be going more with Warmachine. Going on to C, is Warmachine cheaper than Warhammer? Now, I'm going to start off with saying yes, and then I'm going to go on and say usually, because in both cases, of course, there's wild extremes, right? So in Warhammer, I can go into this and I can make like a Terminator army and make something that'd be very cheap and get me lots of points. Then of course you get into things you're buying Forge World and upgrade kits and all this stuff, and it gets really expensive. And you have the same thing in Warmachine, right? You could be going with one of these larger metal units where you have to be buying attachments and UAs, and it can get really pricey. However, overall, Warmachine is cheaper than Warhammer. A great show of this is when you compare the boxes. So if you go and you buy like the battalion box for a Codex army or something like that in 40K, you're going to get about 500 points for around $130, $140. When you're looking at Warmachine, we have these army all-in-one boxes where for the same cost, you're getting 35 points, which is a playable size, right? Warmachine is played at either 35 or 50 typically, and so you could spend just $140, take that box, and if there's a tournament that's 135 points, one list, you're good to go. In 40K, you spend that same money, you get 500 points, and all the tournaments are usually somewhere between 1,500 and like 2,400, and it's like, yeah, you better spend a lot more money. So, in general, Warmachine is cheaper. D, who is Warmachine dating? This is talking about the Marvel character. The only other one here is, what is Warmachine to lose? I don't want, either of these things don't apply. We're going to move on. E, is Warmachine easy to learn? In the beginning, yes. Warmachine, the way it works, the way you move around, the 2d6 system, very, very simple. You know, I can grab someone and no worries, in half an hour, they'll know how to play the game at its general form. To master the game and to know all the different types of interactions takes years. Like I said, I can sit down with you and over half an hour, you'll know how to do all the normal stuff. and then you'll start saying like, oh, what about these power attacks, or how does this actually interact, or how about doing this? Like all of that really is like this. You jump into it and it's like you learn lots right away, and then it's a slow learning curve that really takes like probably a good year before it's like, okay, I got a good handle of everything. So, and you're going to get the same thing like that with other games too that are of the same complexity, you know, whether you're playing 40K or whatever, it'll be the same thing where you kind of learn it very quickly, and then it's just really those small interactions that take a long time to learn. F. Is Warmachine fun? Absolutely. Now, I know a big problem here is that people look at Warmachine and we have the rule where it says, play like you got a pair. And that people sometimes from outside interpret that as, be a complete jackass, which is not what it is at all. I mean, if you go into a Warmachine tournament, it's the same guys that is in the same like 40K tournament, whatever, where on one end of the spectrum, you have Jimmy, who just wants to come in and have a hoot and holler, and he has a beer in his backpack. And then on the other side, you have Fred, who's like, yeah, I'm here, I'm going to kick ass. And you got that whole gradient in between. But as a game, it is really great fun. Sure, you have to really focus on those micro interactions, and if you walk into something, game can be over like that. But the nice thing is that with so few models, you just reset up, and it's no problem, right? Compare it to a game like Fantasy, where it's like, oh, I failed a bunch of command tests and you kill a bunch of guys. I guess I can reset up these 300 models and then we're good to go. So, yeah, I find Warmachine to be very, very, very fun. G. Is Warmachine good or bad? I'm guessing this is another question on the Marvel character, but we'll say good. There's also one further down that might more apply. What is Warmachine game? Warmachine is a tabletop war game, and if you're listening to this, you probably know generally what Warmachine is. H. Is Warmachine Hordes the same game? Yes, we already covered that. Is Warmachine Hordes compatible? Yes. This one's probably a little bit more better. Is Warmachine or Hordes better? Now, this gets into this whole debate where some people say the Hordes mechanic, where you have Fury, is a lot more powerful. But then again, over on the Warmachine side, you typically have stronger spells and feats. So it says balance, and I'd say overall, they're very well balanced, and they're pretty much the same. If you're trying to decide which way you want to go into the game, do I want to be in Warmachine or Hordes, because you're looking to be competitive, I wouldn't look at it this general of being Warmachine or Hordes. I mean, you can be looking at top tournament scores. You can go to Discount Games, and they have a section there where they list all the tournament winners. So you could go like that, but honestly, go into the faction you think looks cool, and there's so many options in all of them. You can be competitive with any army. Is Warmachine in jail? This is all these things. Again, for Marvel. So we're just going to skip this one. J. Is Warmachine still in jail? I don't know. Man, I used to read the Warmachine comics as a kid. I love that guy. It's like Iron Man. Who's going to care about Iron Man when there's another guy exactly the same with a Gatling gun in his shoulder, right? Given the two, give me the Gatling gun guy. But, yeah, I don't know what's currently going on with Warmachine in the comics and stuff. K. Is Warmachine Kiss? It's not. Is Warmachine Kickstarter? Yeah, none of these are really doing anything. L. Is Warmachine easy to learn? This one again, yeah, it is very easy to learn. M. Is Warmachine Mark II? So yeah, currently right now, we're in the second edition of the game, which is called Mark II. If you grab some old models, and the points for the models are in the hundreds, that's Mark I. All your models are still good, you just need to get new cards, which cost 50 cents each. Either go online or go to your local store, you can order any new cards, there's packs. So when they went from Mark I to Mark II, they made cards for all the factions. You could just buy your faction as a pack and like, hey, I'm good to go. But if you got anything new, they won't be in there. They come in the boxes. If you buy a box of cards right in there, but just be warned about that. Some people talk about if Mark III is going to come up. I highly doubt it. I think Mark III is years away. N. Why is Warmachine not in the Avengers? He was. He was in Avengers too. Yeah, all these are all wrong. Oh, is Warmachine or Hordes better? We already did that. Is Warmachine good or bad? Did that. Yeah, these ones are all the same. P, is Warmachine popular? Yes, it is. If you're comparing it to 40k or fantasy, it's probably actually the same as fantasy now, and after Age of Sigmar, probably well above it. But if you're trying to find gamers, you're like, oh no, I live in the States, and I just don't know if I can find Warmachine players. There's Warmachine players in the States. It is fairly popular. I'm not going to guarantee that in every little town that you're going to find something, but there is a lot of players. Now, let's say you just don't know where to find them. Well, first thing you should do is go to your local store and say, hey, do you know of anyone who's organizing events? And then you can get into those, know the people, get going. That's an easy one. If there's not a local store, then what you can be doing is go onto the forums, right? Go to the Privateer Press forums and just say, hey, I live in here. Do anybody else live here? That one's probably not going to be as helpful, but you can do it and maybe you'll get lucky. In the end, probably the person who's going to help you there is going to be a press ganger. Press gangers are people that are, I want to say, enrolled with Privateer Press, not really paid. As they do demos and things, they get points where they can get stuff, but they really just are people that just love the game and want to share the hobby. And so these are normally people who are running the events anyway, and so the press gangers can find the press ganger for your area, and he'll just completely hook you up. He'll be like, oh yeah, here are the groups in the area, these are the local events. And really, like in the States, there are so many events going all over the place. It's insane. Yeah, Warmachine, very popular. Don't worry about it. Q, anything there? Is Warmachine quick start rules? Something to know about Warmachine is that, first of all, if you buy one of those normal things, they're the starter box, they come with the quick start rules. These are the rules that are like, hey, if you want to play a game, like in those 30-minute explanation, this is everything right here. Very simple, go and do it. The larger rules you have to normally get a different way. However, very recently, Privateer Press just made the Warmachine rules free. So go onto their website, you can find it there, you can Google it, Warmachine free rules, and hey, you know, other companies want to charge you $100, it's free here. So take advantage of it. R. Is Warmachine racist? I really don't know. This one's directed between the Marvel or the game. I mean, the Warmachine in Marvel is black, and I can't remember anything from the comics at all saying that he was racist. The actual game, I guess, here's something maybe they're referring to, that normally a lot of the models are done in the art as Caucasian. You know, in Signar, Siege is black, and it's like, oh wow, it's really different because there's just not really anyone else there. You can paint it whatever you want. Would I say that makes them racist? I think they're really just playing the majority of who buys the game, right? That's it. And it's just, yeah, I wouldn't take anything from it. Paint up your figures whatever colors you want. It really doesn't matter, just like in real life. QRS. Is Warmachine steampunk? Kind of. A lot of times when Warmachine is called steampunk, it's when it's trying to be compared to Hordes. So whereas Warmachine is kind of like robots and funky stuff like that and lightning, over in Hordes it's all about like beasts and wild stuff. And so steampunk kind of makes its way in there, but it's really kind of more of like a steampunky sci-fi, but more of the sci-fi element. I mean, some of the stuff looks like it could be steam-based, but most of it looks more like it's like coal-based or something, where they get like the stack in the back and all this stuff. So either way, like if you're trying to get in the game and you're trying to make it steampunk, you can always make it more steampunk. You buy this one model here, and if you want to add like extra gears and big goggles and top hat and whatever you want to do, convert it all you want. As long as 50% of the model stays the same, shows the same weapons, blah blah blah, you're good to go. But in general, Warmachine is kind of like the futuristic, like a little slight influence from steampunk type thing. T. Whole bunch of stuff from Marvel. Again, is Warmachine better than Warhammer? U. Is Warmachine UK? No, nothing there. I wish there would be a lot more stuff. I mean, that's one of the things. I knew there's going to be some oddball ones in here, but what are you going to do? Is Warmachine a villain? Again, that's going to be a Marvel thing. What is Warmachine Vengeance? Well, I can't remember if one of the books were called Vengeance, but Vengeance in the game is something that some models have, like Legionnaires, where if you kill one of them, they want to hit you back. So at the start of their next turn, they'll get a 3-inch move and a free attack, and then you start activating them again. So it's something where if you go after a unit with Vengeance, you probably want to really kill a lot of them, so they're not going to be vengeancing a lot. And meanwhile, what they're probably doing is like putting one model a little bit far forward, so like, come on, kill them. And all of a sudden they get to move up and do like a super long charge, so. W, is Warmachine worth it? I'd say it is. Warmachine is extremely fun, very satisfying. There's so much out there for the community, the way that Privateer Press supports it. It's such a deep game where it's not like, oh man, I bought these 3 things and that's all there is. There are so many models. They're coming out with new models all the time, always updating it. Yeah, Warmachine is a great game, and you should really try it if you're not already. X? Yeah, nothing will be there. Y? Is Warmachine YouTube? Clearly, yes, there's Warmachine on YouTube. And Z, because I'm Canadian, is Warmachine zombies? Is Warmachine zone markers? Yeah, I mean, one thing you should know about Warmachine is there is going to be things like zones and stuff, and some people, when they get into Warmachine, they don't like to do the scenarios, or like, oh, let's just play, which is not bad, but you want to be doing scenarios as soon as you can, because if you don't play Warmachine with scenario, it turns into 40k. You start realizing that, hey, why am I going across the board? Give me some guns. I'm just going to shoot these guys. And it's not really how the game is meant to be played. Shooting is important, but you really need that scenario to really pull things together and really encourage aggressive play rather than, I'm going to head back here with a gun. So there you go. There's this Warmachine 101. It'd be interesting to see if I did this again in 3 years, what type of questions would be in here now. But if you have any other questions, please just post them down below. I'll answer them all. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Bye.